If you're anything like us, riding down these old dirt and gravel roads, you can't help but wonder what's just in those tree lines. We found one, and it's a really cool one. Mid-70s Dodge W100 4x4 that was driven and parked here in 1983. It's gonna be a feat to get this thing cut out of here and dragged out of the woods. And then we got to attempt to get it running for the first time in 41 years. I'm so glad it didn't have a bumper. It creased in the grill a little bit, but it'd have been gnarly if it had gone through the bumper. Are we crazy for even attempting this? He said, Dad said, yeah, probably. Short bed though. The patina, I know a lot of people don't like patina, but I think this one's gonna be really cool. We are gonna have to jack this thing up and shift it over before we try to air that tire anymore. Are we gonna, that's 3 for 3 taking air. We are back and excited to dig into this thing. With that being said, as filthy as this truck is, especially the interior, no doubt this thing was being used as a shed. Let's go ahead and suds this thing down, blast it off, get it cleaned up. I want a little bit better set of rollers on it. Get under this hood and blow everything out. This thing is, it's absolutely disgusting in here. There was a ton of ants and they have built nests all over the engine, all down around the sides. And we definitely want to get all of that out of here before we start trying to move stuff around in here, not only for the engine, but for our safety. That's a lot of crud we don't want to be sucking down. And I've got to say, getting this thing out of the woods, specifically this side, it's got a whole lot of character. The trees were rough on this thing, but I think a good wash, you wouldn't even notice those few dings. Some whiskey dents. All weekend of whiskey dents. All weekend of whiskeying dents. Gross. Ugh. Oh, the spider was coming to get me. Got an extra half quart of oil for this thing. Man, fresh can of brake fluid. Let's top this thing off. Definitely gonna have to figure out a dash. This one's disintegrated just like all of these. I don't wonder what material they used, because the dash cut top and the little vents just completely disintegrate on these. But otherwise, the floor on this side is super solid. This side's really solid other than one little spot around the drain right here. And otherwise, with the exception of cab corners, it's a kind of a crazy clean cab. A Dodge or even any truck of this kind of age. Let's make a mess. Man, the Titanic have 318s in it? Well, it looks a lot different than it did. I do really dig the blue and the red primer. We blasted it all down, and then we went over everything with a magic eraser, the spots we couldn't get too harsh with the pressure washer. Then we went over everything with Scotch-Brite. We used the gray because it's nowhere near as invasive as a red one would be, scuffing and scratching. It'll be dry, but you know, we'll buff and wax this thing out. I know we got a lot of PDR to practice. We'll get some basketball in the bedsides and the door, and some suction cups and a little bit of glue, and maybe a slide hammer, and have this thing straight as can be. No major moisture. Actually not horrible looking. Terrible tasting oil. That's some old dinosaurs. But really not too bad looking. Let's dig into this thing. First thing we want to go ahead and do is get this taste out of my mouth. I gotta quit doing that. Is soak the spark plugs down and keep our fingers crossed that hopefully those crusty spark plugs come out of there, because we need to go ahead and get an idea of the condition of our combustion chambers. It's gonna kind of tell us where we're going with this. If it doesn't look too horrible, we'll fill it up with some penetrating oil. If it's pretty rough, we might go a little bit stouter, and then we'll see if this thing wants to turn over. Someone in the comments told me I should Sharpie these before I put them on there. That's a wonderful idea. They're just gonna come right out. You ready? Oh, that wasn't nothing. Can't judge a book by its cover. I better just shut up while we're ahead. Oh, that's not bad at all. Oh, look at that. Not bad. A little bit of oil foul, which is wonderful. I love oily old engines. They're normally the ones that like to not be completely frozen. Not bad at all. Another relatively good looking plug. When I'm saying good looking plugs, clearly they're not good looking plugs, but they're not super crusty for moisture. And that makes you feel good. Nice. Oh, that one's a little crispy. Not bad. Oh man. Oh, nice. Nice. Number 8. You gotta be kidding me. One of the crustiest engines we've messed with in a while, and some of the nicest looking spark plugs. With that being said, all these years, there's still the opportunity for condensation and rust, especially on our rings. And we don't want to just go trying to throw a starter on this thing and take the possibility of breaking a ring gland or something. So let's soak it down. We won't wait too long. We'll give it a few hours. Let's throw a ratchet on the front of that crank and try to turn it over by hand. So if there is anything that's stuck, we don't take a chance of breaking anything, and we can spin it over, make sure we get a nice, good, full revolution. No valves sticking or anything that might hit our pistons. I'm feeling pretty good about this one so far, though. That definitely surprised me. 1.25" crank bolt. Got a socket on there. Let's see what it does. Oh yeah, no problem. Ooh, those pulleys are crispy. Oh, you beautiful thing, you. Nice, good, clean revolution. What a good feeling, especially for one so crusty. Now, before we throw a battery in here and start turning this thing over, I always like to go ahead and pull that drain plug and drain the old oil out of this thing. For almost 40 years of this thing sitting, all of your crud and sediments, for the most part, are gonna have settled down to the bottom of that pan. It also gives us an opportunity to check for any sludge or moisture that we might suck up into the engine. Once we get it drained out, we get some fresh in there. Attempt to get it running. If it does run, we'll change it again at that point if we feel it needs to. Not horrible. That one's been on there a couple minutes.
No, it's not how you park, but it's okay.
You did it. You told me to.
Quit asking me.
You said. Not as bad in there as I expected it to be. Let's throw a battery in this thing. Surprisingly, this one has a key in it. There's not many that do. And see if it'll turn over. Definitely wanted to cut that fuel line before we start trying to turn anything over, just in case that carburetor's not too bad. The entire cab of this thing smells like putrid fuel. If you know that smell, you know that smell, because it's been leaking, but there still could be some in there, and we don't want to start pumping it up through into this carburetor, just in case. No explosions. No cab light. Headlights? Ooh. A marker light? This thing's ready to roll. No taillights. Oh, bad connection. It tried though, didn't it? Not bad. That's like a brand new.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know why there would be anything wrong with that starter. Decent voltage there on the solenoid signal wire. Let off. Let me check. All right, let off. It's not great, but there's voltage there. It should try to whir a little bit. Let's try to motivate it just a touch. Wheel. Sheesh. Someone's done broke that off, and it's just completely loose. Oh my, that's a waterlogged starter. They're pretty cheap for a not even $60 here locally at O'Reilly's for under the lifetime warranty. I think we could spend a day trying to make this one work, and oh my goodness. Hopefully the transmission looks like that. So we have to put a 4-speed in this thing. New starter. This is actually the updated high torque style. It looks quite a bit less bottom of the ocean-y, so hopefully it'll work better. I don't know why I'm just noticing this, but I think I know why the starter was so bad. See that weeping freeze plug? The block looks good and it's not cracked. Freeze plugs aren't too big a deal, and that one doesn't look like it'll be bad to do. We'll just have to pull the starter back off, but we gotta try to turn it over at least. Just looking at how solid these floor pans and everything are under here. The bottom of the bed. Lots of surface rust, but not super, super crusty, but I did notice this. Look at the wear and the play in that slip yoke. Someone's done some mudding in this thing. There she goes. Doesn't sound like anything crazy in the flywheel. I think our next step, let's go ahead and see if we can figure out fire. This should be electronic ignition. As you can see, the ignition module and the voltage regulator have both let out all of their magic goo. Might still work. I have a feeling we'll have to replace it though. That cap is super, super dry. It looks good. I don't think it's gonna last very long, but down inside looks really nice. That Hall effect sensor is a pretty reliable system, so hopefully it's okay. I'm gonna throw a spark plug in it. Let's see if it gets some fire. If it doesn't, we'll check voltage real quick. If we have 12 volts, these run like 8-9 volts. If we have 12 volts, then it is shorted internally and just running full circuit, and we know that's what's wrong with it. This isn't sketchy at all. Alright. What a ridiculously reliable ignition system. What else would sit out like this, look like this, that much crust and moisture, and still be popping like that? Just using some OE Champions. We want to make sure we've got a 35 thousandths point gap. Now for fuel. Our throttle plate is completely frozen, as to be expected for this thing being wide open anyways. With it being wide open, I wanted to pull the carb and just make sure we didn't have any... See ya. I just wanted to pull the carb anyways and make sure we didn't have any trash down in the intake that we might suck down into those cylinders. We can go to prevent that now. Let's pull our line, get this carburetor yanked off, check down in there, see if we get the thing freed up. Super clean underneath, but a mess. Here, look at the mud dauber right there. We'll try to blow it out though. I might even pull the cap and just see if we can look down in there at all to see if we we'll obviously want to put a kit in it and rebuild it, but we might try to run it like that for now. Let's look down in that intake real quick. Not too bad. I just want to pop the top and see what things look like down in here. Oh, mud dauber, mud dauber, mud dauber. Why do you put mud in everything? And little spiders. Not bad at all. Chew. Yeah, that wouldn't. I think we can clean it up though. See, just a little varnish and mud dauber that somehow got in there. Why do they get in everything? There it goes. This accelerator is actually still pliable, but I've got one right here. Got a new one right here. We might as well not take a chance. While the carburetor's off, we've got our fuel line hooked up to our boat tank here. Run through that original fuel pump. Let's see if it pumps, and that'll also pump any kind of trash that is in that gunk up into this. And if it doesn't work, we'll know we need a fuel pump, and we can stick our car back on. Nope. Oh boy. That ain't bad. She was just moody. Oh yeah. Now let's turn this thing over and see if that carburetor holds fuel. Go ahead, please, Dad. Yeah. Might be weeping a little bit. It is, I guess it's overflowing. That was actually just the choke kicking fuel. It's got a little weep, but it is not overflowing. I think it's time to try and pop this thing off. Go ahead. Oh my goodness. Way too much fuel. All right, go ahead. Dude! This thing sounds like a dang hit and miss engine. I think it's the exhaust leaking. It's got the where they pinched off that pipe right there. All right, I gotta be able to get up here. It's way too low. Or way too. I'm way too low. It's way too high. This thing's idling. Right there, I tell you what. Woo! Yeah. It sounds so good.
for something that looks like a boat anchor.
I
You
know.
Just-
Yes, power steering is completely empty. We need to loop our transmission cooler lines, which hadn't pumped at all yet. We need to stick a radiator in this thing so we can run it a bit longer. Already flowing super strong on the rockers. That has got to be one of the healthiest starts I think we've heard. It's got to just have some thick old oil. Obviously this thing was still back using old canned oil and stuff for it to not be all clattery and lifter ticking and stuff. I mean, that is not bad at all.
Just putsy it in. Just about to miss the rain.
I want to learn to fly someday. Should we? I want to rescue an airplane. You want to rescue an airplane? We can't afford to rescue an airplane. I say we definitely need to loop the heater core. The transmission cooler on this thing is insane. Do you see this? I thought it was a full-on AC condenser. It's huge. Someone was doing some mudding in this thing. Oh, that is completely pinched over. Oh, and it's got to fill this whole thing up because I bet that's your pressure side before looping back to this.
And it's
already wet. Yep. With this sitting open like this, I bet we've got mud daubers in here, and I bet that thermostat's super crusty. If it even has one, we should probably pull it. Otherwise, we're not going to be getting any flow. Somebody gave us this radiator at a swap meet. It looks like it might work. We're gonna stick it in there, and hopefully there's a reason that they you know, didn't just give it away, but that should get us cooling though. That's scary. It's one nice thing about sometimes using these things is they wiggle in a jiggle and sometimes pop some bolts out that would otherwise most likely break. I don't think we have to worry about a thermostat. Mud dauber though, that's your new custom Woods. Oh my goodness. Will you grab a vacuum cleaner, please? Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Slow down a little bit. Might have one weepy freeze plug, but I don't see any other crazy leaks. That's good. Always makes you nervous. Cracked block or something. All right. Let's at least see what. Oh, that's beautiful. Some dark gray down there, but look at the red on top. Let's fire this thing back up. There's the lifters. That's rough. Oh my goodness. That is the terribly stinky, sweet smell of success. Oh, it sounded really good. Other than that terrible exhaust, super leaky where they pinched it off, the engine sounds super healthy. No knocking, really no major ticks or anything. Pretty smooth as far as idle goes. Great coolant flow. It's running. That's what we were going for. We got to try to see if it goes into gear. There's obviously no brakes, and there's going to be a ton of work in doing the brakes on this thing, which we'll do in our next video. We got to see if it moves. It does not want to move at all. Oh, there it goes. Woo, that needs some work. And I threw this thing in neutral because that wouldn't work when we were trying to pull it out. We're gonna go too high. I guess it needs to be in neutral, but we're not running. Yeah, because that's 4 low, neutral. That should be too high. I think you ought to try. Do it, see if it goes in gear. See if it goes in gear. Dad gets the honors. Just see if it even tries to move. That's under a load, isn't it? Oh yeah! No reverse. That's neutral. You just went to neutral. So no reverse. We might be low or reverseless. Oh, we're low. Let's get some fluid in there and see if it pulls. Maybe it won't, and then we'll have to manual swap it, but maybe it will. See the little cutoff thing? That exhaust is funny. It's loading. Well, why does it go in reverse and labors but doesn't move? Let's try to move this thing around and see if maybe it's in the brakes. Dad likes glass packs. That's old man mufflers.
Nah.
I am totally just
I wasn't
kidding.
an old man then.
Let's try to move it. I think we've got some leak by in the transmission. I have to manual swap it. Oh, so terrible. He won't let me let him take it. So I guess if someone crashes, he wants it to be me. Let's do this. Dude! Wow, this thing feels like a lifted 4x4 pickup truck. What a cool truck. I love this how we sit in it, how it feels, how it steers. Are you sure this ain't a 3/4 or a 1 ton? Try reverse. Yeah, there it is! Woo! It just needed a little motivation. That looks like reverse to me. This thing's leaking, I think probably from that booster. Everywhere's got a massive vacuum leak. You can hear when I tried to give it just a little bit of throttle, popping and backfiring. But it runs and it sounds pretty good. There's definitely a lot of going over stuff that we need to do. Like, I don't know, maybe this one could use a 4-barrel. Some exhaust, a little bit of body work, some bumpers, but it came out of the woods after 41 years. As crusty as it is, actually runs pretty good, all things considering. And then it moves, and it's kind of self-healing. We had no reverse there. We got moving, boom, we had reverse. What a neat truck. You just don't see a ton of half-ton power wagons. Small block, automatic, divorce transfer case, 4x4. If you enjoyed that rescue and you want to see more on this truck and other really fun rescues, be sure to subscribe button and notification bell to keep up with future uploads. And if you have been a part of the channel, you're following along, we do appreciate it so incredibly much. Thank you all so much for the support, for following us, allowing us the opportunity to do things like this, rescue these old forgotten vehicles. We get to do it because of each and every one of you. So thank you all so much. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.